Good evening and welcome everyone to our third race of the season in the Scientist Reverse Grid League in the EINSTEIN League here at beautiful smoggy China. Tonight we're a little bit reduced on numbers, only 13 guys have checked in for tonight's races, but that doesn't mean that there's no excitement because these 13 guys will completely go at it. The weather for the race seems dry. It's cloudy a lot, but you never know. Maybe we have some rain in the middle of the end of the race. We will see. We have a closer look at that. And as usual, we will also have our formation lap. And during that formation lap, you see the grid. You can see that we have a look on absolutely everything, the whole map, the lap data, telemetry, and of course all the details regarding position changes, pit stops, and the actual tyre that these guys are on. As you can see, we only have 3 medium runners in Castor, France, Verstappen, and GMAC. That means both Red Bulls with Castor and Chas are on the same strategy, but starting in completely different positions. Let's see how that plays out for Red Bull. We got Instant Racer tonight on pole in his Haas, followed by Di Castor on mediums, Corleone in his Merc behind in P4, Chappie, Mosha, Jaden in his AlphaTauri, Walter B in P8, D-Bizzle, GMAC and Yutsikev in P12. Interesting to see what the strategy of D-Bizzle and Yutsikev is on these softs. They have to have a super first stint to close the gaps to all the guys in front. Only Castor France on a different strategy here in P3. Right now we're on our formation lap, so the guys need to warm up their tyres and they mustn't crash into each other because otherwise you get disqualified from the formation lap, and that means you will start on cold tyres, and especially with tricky turn 1 you don't want to start on cold tyres. You need traction, you need your brakes warmed up, you need everything on point here on China. And as you can see, it's really foggy, it's really dusty around here at China as the guys are warming up the tyres on that long DRS straight where we possibly see a lot of overtakes going into the hairpin, Denny Rick style, as we all remember his beautiful overtake on Bottas here in China. Instant Razor has a pretty big gap to Di in P2. He also has a big gap to Castor France. So let's see if that plays out for them. Castor taking his time here on mediums to warm them up properly, of course. Let's see how that all plays out at the start on the first lap and after the pit stops. And maybe we'll have a little weather change too. We'll also keep a closer look at that, as we're now here at the start. I have to disappoint you all in the beginning, because normally if the 5 red lights go out, it doesn't mean that all the guys are starting. It takes a moment, Cody. Still a little slow here. 5 red lights out now, and of course no one's starting. It takes a second. They're revving now and they're going. Di with a good start. Corleone 2 already got Casto behind, and they're colliding. Corleone, and who is that? That's Di. They collided. Di hit the rear tyre of Corleone going into the first corner, and that means Di is lost, and probably with wing damage, Instant Racer won the start. Chappie up to P3, Casto down in P4, Walter B followed by Yutsikev for started last, was already up to P6. D-Bizzle followed him in P7, Moshe in P8, Verstappen P9, G-Meg, Jane, and Di last. Oh, we have a spin! Instant Racer spans out of P1. Race. He will be second to last now, behind G-Meg. Horrible outcome for him in that fast right-hander. And the following lap, maybe his rear just stepped out. He hasn't had the traction with fuel, with the full fuel tank, and all that going on. And we have another spin. It's Chappie. He's avoiding the wall, but he also will be second to last now, because that's absolutely bloody horrible. As we see D'Cunha at the back, climbing up, yellow flags in sector 3. Green flags now, and Corleone is in P1. 1.5 in front of Castro, and that could be the time to get a bigger gap between himself and Castro, because he's on soft and Castro on mediums. Let's see how that plays out here. But as we've seen, with 2 spins already, or 3 spins with Dean, D'Cunha, Instant Race, and Chappie, it's very tricky around China. You need to have the best control as possible around here in these tricky corners to keep your car on track. Oh, and there's Yutsikev going at Walter B. We're on board with Walter B, switching to Kev now. He's on the outside, going to the fast left corner. Let's see if they can handle that. Yutsikev with more traction now going on the inside, and overtaking Walter B up to P3, and now he's at the back of Castro already. That means 9 positions gained already on lap 2. Absolutely crazy how he went through the field. Corleone is still in P1, increased his gap from 1.5 to 2 seconds now. Coming out of the nasty right-hander where you normally use your car if you're not careful on that. And Yutsikev trying to overtake Castro here into the hairpin on the outside. Castro is defending the inside, still on the inside. He got that corner. They touch a little bit. But Castro right now defending his position here, still on the inside. Cuts in front of Yutsikev to dominate his position. And the sun is coming out of China. The fog and clouds are going away. The fastest laps are flying in here. Instant Racer's out of the race. Instant Racer out of the race. What happened to him? Maybe he lost it around that sneaky corner here, because we can see that his dead car must have been somewhere there. So Instant Racer, starting on pole, is out of this race. Chappie already in the pits, and on lap 3, pitting from P9. Probably switching on the mediums, and we'll switch in to P3 and P4 as we have someone spun out. It's Yutsikev. Yutsikev has spun from P3 down to P8, but he has a big gap to Moshe as he was the first one to pit it, and Moshe is around half a minute behind Yutsikev. But Yutsikev now down to P8 as we have another yellow flags. It's Corleone who spun. What is happening? Corleone is spun from being in the lead down to P5. Absolutely bloody horrible for these guys. And Walter B is closing in on Castro now. Castro on his mediums right now with the perfect strategy. Wasn't that intentional, but he probably doesn't give a fuck, and Walter crashes into the wall too. We've been on board with Walter as he crashes into the wall, losing front wing, and has to go one whole lap without a front wing to change it in the pits. What a race it's been until now. Look at that front wing. It's gone. What a race. What a race. And Diviza right now, the guy who's laughing hard because he gained 8 positions from guys in front of him just spinning out and crashing into the wall. Castro with the perfect strategy right now on mediums. He can lengthen his stint here a little bit. 1.5 to Diviza, so no threat from behind because of DRS. He's out of it, so he can just race his race, have control of it, just make the pace, but of course he also has to be very, very careful to not spin his car. One of them already did. Diviza on soft, so maybe he can close the gap a little bit, but as we all know, China is very, very hard to your tyres, especially the softs. They can go down pretty quickly here, but he's gaining a little bit. 210s on Corleone, maybe running a little bit low wings to have the straight line speed. And Verstappen, the other Red Bull we're talking about, P3, P9, both are mediums, are not pretty close together. Within 2 seconds, both are mediums, and Verstappen with DRS overtaking De Bissel. That means we have a 1-2 Red Bull now. Oh, maybe I was a little bit too early here with that prediction, because De Bissel is coming back at Verstappen. We're on board with Verstappen now, who lost the position against De Bissel because of understeer into the nasty right-hander. And De Bissel just saw his chance here. Oh, he's going wide for that should be right-hander. They need traction here. The softs, of course, are a little bit better, but now could be the turning point between softs and mediums. As we have Walterby, of course, in the pits with his damaged front wing down to P9. He will lose some positions, of course, as he's in the pits against Acuna. He's up to P9 now. Walterby down to P11 as Chappie also overtakes him. Oh, crazy. Almost lost the car. Verstappen on the inside, and he will have DRS on this long straight as he entered the detection zone. Behind De Bissel, slightly behind him. It will be very interesting to see when these medium runners will come into the pits, because right now it seems like it's Verstappen pits earlier than Castro. There could be undercut between teammates and De Bissel, as we're seeing coming into the pits right now, as is Jaden in his AlphaTauri, pitting from P5. G-Mac up to P4 now, who also started on mediums. A very uneventful race for G-Mac right now, as we have yellow flags in sector 3 again. Let's see who that is. That could have been Walterby, who's now around 12 seconds behind Chappie, who's very close to Cunha, going on the inside with DRS. A very fair battle between these two. Let's see when these medium runners will come into the pits. Chappie now, DRS, using DRS2 for a little bit of time, staying behind Cunha. Doesn't want to risk anything here. Only a few hundreds between those two. But very fair, clean, and good racing. Hard fights. But they keep it very clean here. Nice to see. Let's keep a closer look at the both Red Bulls in front. Castro 1.7 in front of Verstappen right now. And we have yellow flags in sector 2. And it is Cunha. Cunha has lost it. Maybe they're touched, I don't know, but fact is, he lost it. And he's now 10 seconds behind Chappie and got Walterby right behind him. And he still has to pit. I think he hasn't been in the pit. Oh, he has been in the pit, sorry. My mistake. Corleone is pitting now from P4, from softs to mediums. So only G-Mac, Verstappen and the leader Castro haven't pitted yet. Oh, that was a big wobble by Castro, as you could see. Let's see where Corleone comes out. De Bissel is on the pit straight now. Maybe he overtakes him. Yeah, he does overtake him. And Yutsikev is also coming there. His teammate Corleone will stay in front for now. Let's see if he can stay in front of Yutsikev. It'll be very interesting to see where Castro, Verstappen and G-Mac will come out. G-Mac will probably come out around Corleone and Yutsikev. Well, let's see where Verstappen and Castro will come out, because the gap is a little bit bigger. 5 seconds more. Let's see what they can do, as we are on lap 7 of 14 now, so half the race is done. And let's see what strategy these two are going for. Maybe someone is doing the undercut on the other one. A very interesting, tricky situation for the Red Bull crew here. Castro is staying out, as is Verstappen. So no changes here. G-Mac is also staying out, as we have again yellow flags in Sector 2. And it's Chappie who lost it. Chappie lost, so Chappie, Walterby and Ticunia just want to race together, it seems like. Oh, and another spin. Yeah, these tyres have been too hot for comfort here. Very, very unfortunate for Chappie and Ticunia and Walterby, of course. They had a good race, very solid, recovering from the first spins. Unfortunately, they spun again. It's only down to damage limitation. I'll just go home in that position, get some points, regroup yourself for the next race, and that's it. As we have still our medium runners from the first stint, and Castro, Verstappen and G-Mac still out on track, as D Bizzle is closing the gap. He's been at 18 seconds and a bit in the last lap. We're down to 16.7 now. So D Bizzle is making these tires work and closing the gap to P3. Verstappen is right now within the DRS range of Castro. Let's see if Castro's pitting now to take the advantage of DRS away from Verstappen and get the undercut and have one more lap on these fresher soft tires to make them work. And Castro and Verstappen are both staying out. So that could be a chance for G-Mac to pit now and try to do an undercut on them, and he's pitting. He maybe has exactly that in mind, to pit now and get maybe an undercut on them on fresher soft tires. And I'm positively shocked that we don't have any penalties right now. Whether it's corner cutting or speeding in the pit lane, and Verstappen is very, very close to Castro now. So now you have the situation, if Verstappen overtakes Castro on the pit straight, on the long DRS straight, he's in front and he can dictate the tactics and the strategy, as Moshe DNF'd from the race in P8. Let's see if we can see his car anywhere around. As we have yellow flag in Sector 2. We see his car on the left side here. He maybe lost it on the exit of that last corner. We're now on board with Verstappen fighting for the lead against Castro. Both Red Bulls still have to pit, fighting for the lead. Verstappen with DRS coming closer to Castro and probably dictating the strategy from now on. Castro trying to undercut him to stay in front and get the strategy back in his hands, but if Verstappen pits now, Castro's probably fucked. And Verstappen is not pitting. So Castro's pitting, Castro's doing the undercut. He's doing the undercut on Verstappen, and that's very, very good for Castro. I don't know if Verstappen didn't have it on his mind, but that's a big chance for Castro to get the lead back just on strategy without doing the overtake. D Bizzle on the last corner, now in the pit straight. Let's see where he and Castro will come out. It's very close. You can see Castro now. Oh my god, it's close. D Bizzle coming in, Castro hitting the curb, wobbling a little bit, and D Bizzle is only half a second behind Castro. What a second stint by D Bizzle with the undercut, as Utikav is now up to P4. He overtook Corleone a few laps ago. Corleone in P5 and has G-Mac behind him on fresh softs. And G-Mac has a plan here. He wants to get the positions back, as he was solid in P3 and wants to get these positions back on softs now. Like on the last few games at China, maybe can make it work here. But we also take a closer look at Verstappen now, because he's in the lead right now, 21 seconds in front of Castro, and that could be also very, very close at the pit exit, as Castro is melting down that gap, 10th by 10th. Verstappen coming in now. Let's see if he has the nerves to do the right pit entry here. That's very good, no penalty for him. And we will stay with Castro right now and switch in between him and Verstappen in the pits to see when they go. Catch Verstappen leaving his pit box right now. And Castro coming onto the pit straight now. We are on board with Castro. On the minimap you can see that Verstappen is coming out of the pits right now, but Castro has it. Castro has the lead. The undercut worked. And D Bizzle lost a bit of time to Castro here behind on his mediums. And he's also losing out on P2, but he's in P3 right now. Has Utikev behind him in P4, GMAC in P5, who overtook Corleone. And Castro has a 1.5 second gap. So his undercut worked beautifully against Verstappen. He has also got the soft tire on, made them work for that one lap to re-overtake Verstappen and get a big enough gap out of him so he's not in his DRS. That's a very good strategy call by Castro to undercut his teammate. A kind of a mistake by Verstappen, who was in the lead at the time Castro pitted, to pit right in front of him to make him miss on a strategy, but it played out differently and Castro is in the lead right now. D Bizzle P3. Utikev behind him, only 8 tenths. He will have DRS behind him now, is activated. He won't melt down the gap now on this straight. He won't overtake him here, but let's see what happens on the pit straight as Verstappen is coming closer to Castro within 1 second right now. So that's very, very close for the last few laps around here. Oh, and unfortunately, we also lost Chappie. He had a 2-stopper and then DNF'd after that. Very, very unfortunate. That means we have only 9 finishers right now. But remember, you also get good points when you finish up to P9. And Verstappen is only half a second behind Castro now. That's the battle for the last few laps here around China. But you never know if Utikev may have a word in here, because he's very close behind D Bizzle. And he's flying. He's absolutely flying. But it's more than optimistic to think that he can nail down that gap of 4 seconds on his mediums while Verstappen and Castro on fresh softs. So the win will be decided between these two here in front, between both Red Bulls, both on softs. Castro with 1 lap older softs, but it's not critical on lap 12. As they both pitted on lap 8 or 9. I can't even remember, but we can have a look here. Yeah, it says they're completely fresh, but that's a lie. As Verstappen is already attacking Castro in the outside, trying to switcheroo him out of the exit of the hairpin. Verstappen completely down on the ERS, and they touch. Verstappen has to go the wide line here. Castro with 30% ERS left, but Verstappen with the DRS trying to go on the inside here against Castro. Castro trying to hold it here on the outside, getting the inside for the next lap. They're switching between P1, P2, and Castro has it. Castro still has it. What a defense by him. What a defense. On the penultimate lap of the race, Verstappen side by side with Castro. On board with Verstappen right now, they're keeping it clean. Oh, Verstappen has more speed, more traction out of that corner. Still side by side, Castro with the overspeed. Oh my God! What a miracle return by Castro here. Magnificent. Let's not forget that Utikev is also very, very close behind D Bizzle now, so there will probably be 2 overtakes on this straight here between Castro and Verstappen, and Utikev and D Bizzle. Castro already going defensive, and we got yellow flags in sector 1 and 2, but we can't jump off right now as we're on the battle with the leaders here. Let's see who it is, maybe from the gaps. Seems like it was Jaden, as Takunya gained a lot of time against him, and we can see that the overtake didn't happen here. Also between D Bizzle and Utikev, they defended brilliant here. Verstappen now trying to do the Castro strategy, going on the outside, having more speed going into that corner. Castro still on the inside defending, making his car very, very wide. And still defending from Verstappen here. Beautiful. Yutsikev right behind Diesel here. Still no penalties for no one. GMAC closing the gap on Yutsikev, but it seems like it's not enough as we have a yellow flag again. Can't see who it is as we're back with the leaders, Castro and Verstappen, P1, P2, both Red Bulls, fresh softs, DRS range. And Castro still has 38% of DRS left, with Verstappen only 60. Let's see if that helps Castro in any way on this long straight, the help of DRS for Verstappen. He's very close behind Castro now. Let's see what he can do here. You can see the DRS board there. At that point, Verstappen will have DRS right now. Verstappen unloading his DRS to defend it. It seems like he can defend his position here. He's going into the hairpin first. And that looks to me like Yutsikev is overtaking Diesel here. But we stay with the leader. And it's Castro who's winning that race in front of Verstappen. Yutsikev overtaking Diesel on the last lap. Coming home in P3. Diesel P4. GMAC P5 who closed that gap. Corleone coming home in P6. And Walterby, who had that massive crash early on in the race, recovered up to P7. Some good points for Alpine here. Of course, a long way back down with the spin, the whole lap with the damaged wing, and the pit stop after that. But that's damage limitation. It's P7, Jane P8, and D'Cunha spun. Probably damaged his wing here. But you can't give up this race. Just finish it as Walterby did in P7. Jaden coming home in P8 in his AlphaTauri. And D'Cunha, last one running now, coming onto the straight. He has to be very, very careful after the spin. His tires will be very, very hot. Same for D'Cunha as for Walterby. Damage limitation, just coming home in P9, getting some points and regroup for the next race that will take place at Hungary. So a completely different track. Very tight. A lot of corners, high-speed corners, mid-speed corners, slow corners. Along that's probably the only chance to overtake someone. As Dean finishes in P9, getting some points. That's it for him. Let's see who got driver of the day from Codemasters. It's Yutsikev who started in P12 and finishes in P3. There's a reason why I said Codemasters driver of the day, because in our league, every league member has the chance to vote for his personal driver of the day. That means we have a special section on our Discord where you are able to vote for your driver of the day, and it doesn't have to be the Codemasters driver of the day. If you think someone else did a beautiful job, maybe the Red Bulls, just one of the Red Bulls of course, because we don't have drivers of the day, then you can vote for him. If you think damage limitation is also worth to stay in the race, to keep focused, then vote for Walterby or D'Cunha. Jaden got the fastest lap at the end. That's very good. Getting extra point here. So the final standings are Castro and Verstappen both in the Red Bulls, P1 and P2. Yutsikev recovering from P12 to P3. Diesel finishing in P4. GMAC P5, as you can see, P3, 4 and 5 starting at the back, 10 to 12 and finishing up front here. Corleone P6, Walterby P7, Jaden P8. D'Cunha P9, Chappie P10 DNF'd, as did Moshe and Instant Racer. That's it from China, boys and girls, of course. Thanks for tuning in. We will be back in around 5 minutes for our next race at Hungary. See you in a few minutes.